Yes, I did. Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's very sweet of you.
Yeah. And then if you want to give that to me.
Oh, I'll try. You want to do it? Hey, Norm Macdonald here in the Seattle at the Moore Theater. Everybody always wants to know what it's like backstage. It's sometimes better than this. Now, apparently I have a Seattle fan club. And I didn't know, I knew nothing of this, but they've sent me stuff, so I thought I would open it up live so that you see it the very time I see it. Oh, it seems to be a long letter. Oh, as the founder of the Seattle chapter of the Norm Macdonald fan club, and then if I find something else, we'll put it up. A picture of a lady. It's a Norm from, I don't know.
I got to meet Norm, and I also got to prove my fucking fanhood to him, and I made him happy. So it's really special, and I have it on camera. But my final photo on Tinder is a photo of Norm actually holding my headshot that I signed and left for Norm, a screenshot that he posted on his own Instagram story. So Norm never posted Instagram stories. And what happened is this. So I flew to LA one time, literally leaving letters at every comedy club I knew Norm frequented about my fan club and with little gifts. He never got them because when he made it to the Moore Theater, which I pulled every string I have in Seattle to get this damn gift for him in there, I designed a shirt for him and a shirt for his mom, a picture of them together with their favorite foods, a fudgesicle and a banana. It's really cute. And just to jump ahead, his mom actually wore the shirt in all the videos after that they ever made together.
Whoa. Why did God make only one Yogi Bear?
Because when he tried to make a second one, he made a boo-boo. Yes, I did. Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's very sweet of you.
Yeah. And then if you want to give that to me.
Oh, I'll try. You want to do it? Hey, Norm Macdonald here in the Seattle at the Moore Theater. Everybody always wants to know what it's like backstage. It's sometimes better than this. Now, apparently I have a Seattle fan club. And I didn't know, I knew nothing of this, but they've sent me stuff, so I thought I would open it up live so that you see it the very time I see it. Oh, it seems to be a long letter. Oh, as the founder of the Seattle chapter of the Norm Macdonald fan club, and then if I find something else, we'll put it up. A picture of a lady. It's a Norm from, I don't know.
I got to meet Norm, and I also got to prove my fucking fanhood to him, and I made him happy. So it's really special, and I have it on camera. But my final photo on Tinder is a photo of Norm actually holding my headshot that I signed and left for Norm, a screenshot that he posted on his own Instagram story. So Norm never posted Instagram stories. And what happened is this. So I flew to LA one time, literally leaving letters at every comedy club I knew Norm frequented about my fan club and with little gifts. He never got them because when he made it to the Moore Theater, which I pulled every string I have in Seattle to get this damn gift for him in there, I designed a shirt for him and a shirt for his mom, a picture of them together with their favorite foods, a fudgesicle and a banana. It's really cute. And just to jump ahead, his mom actually wore the shirt in all the videos after that they ever made together.
Oh.
Why did God make only one Yogi Bear?
Because when he tried to make the second one, he made a boo-boo.
I'm impressed with clean comics.
Me too. Way more impressed than anyone that's superior as a dirty. It seems like a crush a lot of times.
I like dirty ones too. I like
It's a real meeting of the mind.
I swam not naked, but in underpants with Roseanne in Hawaii. We got shit-faced at the best bar
That's great.
in Honolulu,
Was she
Arnold's
fat then?
Tiki Bar.
She's never been
Asked
that
for
fat.
Dawn as the bartender at Arnold's Tiki Bar. Me and Roseanne got fucked up. We walked to the beach.
Right.
We just shredded down to our underwear.
Did you make a move?
No,
Yeah, of
but
course
I'm
not.
fucking in love with that woman.
She's a
That-
great. She's
is
cool as hell.
So fucking
I've
funny.
met her before. She's cool as hell.
Yes.
And her and Norm Macdonald were friends because he wrote on her show. And Norm was like, Norm goes, "Hey, what are you going?" And she's like, "Eh." And after 10 minutes, I was listening to them talk. And after like about 10 minutes, it became this noise. Just a solid bar.
I can hear it.
But Roseanne is so funny. She's like naturally funny.
You said you'd rather play Frogger than have sex.
Oh yeah, well you have to know Frogger, you know, it's a game. It's an arcade game where a little frog has to go across the river.
Yeah.
And they have like little logs that he has to, and sometimes the log's a crocodile and tries to eat him.
You're like totally into that?
Yeah, I like a lot of things better than sex. I don't care for sex that much.
See, that's the thing with me too, because I'm totally bored. I don't have any. What's the matter?
Yeah. It hasn't like gotten better over the centuries, you know? It's always the same thing. It's very, like I had sex when I was a young man, and then I had it for a while, and then I realized it's kind of always the same thing, you know? There's only a few things you can do. You can go like this and then over, you know what I mean? You go, I'll do this for a while, and then...
Do you think that we're being drugged by the government to lose interest in sex?
Oh, no, I just think it's a thing that... like, you know, when people go, hey, you know, that guy's he's good in bed, you know? And to me, like, how hard is it? You know? It's not like if you're good in badminton or something, you know, that's a hard thing, badminton. You gotta, and Frogger, you know? But sex, you can figure it out in like 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah, and like goats do it and stuff. You know, like goats and pigs and stuff all do it, so
Right.
how special can it be?
Exactly. Show me a goat that can get past the third level of Frogger.
That's right, Nora. That's right.
The writers write it, and then you say it, so then if it's not funny, the audience hates you, you know?
Right, that's exactly why you have to be so mean to Ryder.
Right. Like the
Like,
audience
they go
is,
like this.
the audience is going to watch the Roseanne show and go, oh, that dirty Bruce Rasmussen, he's not funny at all. Right?
They don't get that.
Yeah.
The writers don't get that. It's your ass out there. They go like, no, it is funny. I'd be like, I don't think it's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote it and I say it's funny. Well, then you go out there and say it. They want they kind of want a robot that'll just say anything.
Yeah, but they're good people, the writers, you know. I have to go back and talk to them after the show.
Yeah, remember when I used to make y'all wear numbers?
Yeah. Yeah, Roseanne made us all wearing numbers on our shirts so she wouldn't have to speak to us as human beings. So, you know, she'd say, hey, just number 9. And actually, we have some writers on this show that worked at Roseanne, your show.
Yeah, so.
We have 3 and 8.
Are they any good? I remember those guys. Are they any good now?
Oh, yeah, they're great. They're great.
So.
Yeah.
I know that the guy that used to write the, what do you call it, in Hustler magazine.
What?
He used to write the jokes, the captions under the comics in Hustler
He did?
magazine.
Where
yeah.
is he?
He's the one that created your show.
He is?
He's the most talented. Yeah. He's the most talented of all of them. He also did Drew Carey. He's the most
Yeah, he's
talented
Bruce.
number I ever had on that show.
Yeah.
And I wish him the best.
Yeah,
and you.
he's Bruce Halford. Yeah, 3.
Yeah, he started out at Hustler
Yeah,
Magazine.
I didn't know that. Those
Yeah.
things were hysterical. He never told me that. You mean like the really dirty
Yeah.
cartoons with
Yeah.
the blood and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they have those captions. They were funny.
Yeah, they're hilarious.
That
those
one
things.
time I had a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Like, and because they told me I should go see a psychiatrist. I didn't want to go see one or anything like that. But so I go to see this dude, the psychiatrist, and I'm talking to the guy, and I couldn't think of any problems or anything that I had. You know, I was just like, guy I'm working with is kind of a troublemaker, you know, and the boss is always. So I'm just like, I had nothing to say, and the guy's like sitting there, you know. So then I go to the guy twice, right? And then I'm reading the paper. The guy kills himself.
Really?
Yeah, he killed himself. And then I was reading his horrible life, like he was on all these drugs, and he was one of those guys that like to hang themselves there to have sex, and all this weird stuff. Anyway.
Oh my God!
Yeah. And then I just kept thinking, good God, like the last week of his life, he was listening to my boring problems, you know? He's all troubled, and I'm going, anyways, the guy, you know, I don't think he respects me, my boss, you know?
That's kind of, did like that, how deeply did that frighten you? When you read it in the paper that he killed himself.
Yeah, I don't like hearing about guys killing themselves.
That's really scary, isn't it?
Yeah, especially a psychiatrist, you figure they got it all going on in their head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, when you find out they're crazier than you.
Yeah. I don't like that. Because I don't like those psychiatrists, too. I'm always afraid, like, that, you know, they get you under their spell there.
Yeah,
and then,
they do.
And then you don't have anybody else. You only trust the guy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, first thing he does has sex with you.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, the first, it's like a cult. It's a horrifying cult, I think.
Same with hypnotists. Like, I always think if a hypnotist is going to hypnotize you,
Yeah.
he should say right before, I promise I will not have sex with you, you know, while you're
Right.
under, because, you know, I want to give up smoking, but at the same time. I brought some pizza.
Oh, boy. Oh, I love this pizza.
Yeah, it's pizza.
Dairy pizza. Oh, my God, look it.
It's kosher pizza,
It's so good, too.
because you're Jewish.
That's right. I just want to be able to eat pepperoni that's made out of veal or something. I love that.
You'll go to hell.
What, if I eat pepperoni with pork?
Yeah, because you're Jewish.
Will that make me go to hell?
Yeah, isn't that the whole idea?
Go to hell?
You know, I'm Christian. I can eat any kind of pizza and not go to hell.
I don't think I go to hell for eating it either.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't go to hell.
Well, they don't specifically mention pizza in the Old Testament, but it's,
But they do mention pepperoni.
yeah. This pizza
But
here.
it doesn't say you'll go to hell. It just says, you never know where, you know.
Might want to avoid this piece. Actually has hooves on it. You want to eat that? And I said, listen, man, because I kept hearing these things about how old people always have sex.
Yeah.
So I said to my grandmother, grandfather, you still have sex with my grandmother? He was like, good Lord, no. And then he was explaining it to me. He was like, because in his own head, he thinks he's like a young dude.
Yeah.
You know? And so he says, like, when you get old, it's not like all of a sudden your taste change where you go, hey, that wrinkly old lady looks good.
He told you that?
Yeah.
Wow. He said that people still look good when they're in their 20s to like real old guys?
Yeah, yeah. Because he said whenever he looked in the mirror, he was always shocked because he thought he was like a doughboy back in the First World War. You know, he thought he was a handsome dude, and even if he did know he was ugly, he still was not attracted to the old bags. J.K. Rowling is a Christian, and J.K. Rowling famously said that if you're familiar with the scriptures, you could easily guess the ending of her book.
Huh?
Here's some Xanax.
Really? How many should I take?
Well, they get you very
One?
sleepy.
I better take only a half.
Oh, right now, just take a half.
Okay. I don't know why.
We'll be back with Roseanne after the Xanax kicks in.
Questions from the Twitterverse, which I'm now realizing all suck.
Twitter kind of sucks anymore.
Yeah. The
Tell them your most famous joke that people say you're too masculine.
Oh, that one. Well, that was my killer joke.
Yeah.
That's my ender, closer. People say, you're not very feminine. I say, suck my dick. That's my closer. Can't you be meaner?
Did
to
they
these
tell you not to
people?
be as mean?
No, they tell me to be meaner.
Well, early though, you told that guy to fuck off and stuff.
Well,
and
he
then-
was a fucking dick, and he needed to be told. He's like, he kept on like getting in my face, like as if,
No respect.
no. But I'm so used to that working around Hollywood people. But this one was like, you're not gonna come on my show and pull that shit,
Yeah.
motherfucker. So anyway,
Hey, you want to do some jokes,
On the
Rosanna?
baseball.
I have jokes.
okay,
Well, I think we have to take a
No, we're
break
not gonna take a
before-
break.
Oh, okay.
fuck the break.
No, we're gonna just do jokes.
Sounds good.
And who better than Roseanne?
Well,
I can't think of anyone.
I can't remember. A study has found that men are just as likely as women to spread gossip. At least that's what I heard Rick tell Brad, who, by the way, has a crush on Patty.
Oh, does she? Hey, what about this? Kim and Kanye celebrated their baby Northwest's his name's Northwest, his 1-year birthday by throwing a big party. What's that?
It's a her.
Oh, it's a girl. Yeah, Northwest, of course. I should have known by the name.
North, yeah.
Anyway, she had her 1-year birthday, and they threw a big party with jugglers, a bouncy house, and a Ferris wheel. The bad news is that Northwest is a baby, so it doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Here's one. It's about your friend.
Hey, you're not going to believe this, but Bill Maher is giving away the solution to all our problems for free. He is, isn't he?
Yeah. Remember he did jokes about Ewell Gibbons? You know, he'd always
Oh, yeah.
he'd always
Eating
pick one guy.
cardboard.
Yeah, eating cardboard. And I didn't even know who he was when I was a kid, but I just
I
laughed.
still don't know. Who's Yul Gibbons?
He was I think he did Grape Nut Cereals commercial. I love now I have to explain to this fucking guy.
He was like, about like roughage
Yeah.
and, organic roughage.
Got it.
kind of guy.
So I didn't even know Grape Nuts had a, that's fine. I didn't know they had a commercial.
Shut up.
Gosh, no.
For 1 fucking minute, trying to talk to a legend of comedy, you're talking
I'm
about.
sorry.
Thank you very much for being
That was
here.
fun.
Can I kiss you?
Of course.
Oh,
Oh,
sweet. Oh.
sweet. I'm glad I had a cert.
Everybody asked me on this show, when are you going to get a woman? I said, I'm not going to get a woman before I get Roseanne. I'll fucking tell you that.
And I'd like to start by telling you the very last words that Norm Macdonald spoke on this earth. He said, when I go, make damn sure they have a memorial for me. See to it that it's part of a much larger festival promoting a streaming service. Make sure you arrange it hastily and have it early in the morning. Now, damn it, make certain that many of the tributes are on videotape and that Rob Schneider is featured prominently. And finally, hold it in a theater in some part of Hollywood frequented by male prostitutes. Norm, we heard you and we are here.
first day of Christmas, my true love sent to me a partridge in the pear tree.
Hi, honey. Yeah, I just got it. It's terrific. It looks like some kind of a bird in a tree. Oh, you don't say, a partridge, huh? Well, it's great. Well, of course it was a surprise, honey. I was expecting a hat. Well, you know I have been dropping some broad hints about maybe getting a hat. Oh, no, this is much better. It's like two gifts in one. I mean, I get the partridge, and I get a tree.
We now return to 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, as read by Norm Macdonald.
'Twas the night before Christmas. Wait, 'twas? What's 'twas? Is that short for it was? What kind of rush are you in, man? You can't just say it was. Oh, you saved a lot of time there, fella. Oh, don't come at me with that it was stuff. I got things to do. Got to get down to the donut shop. You know, 2 days ago, I was at the donut shop, and I said, hey, donut guy, you got anything warm back there? He says, try the fritters. They were. They were? What does that even mean? They were. You must mean twere. The fritters twere warm. What's that? We're out of time. Oh. I'm fired. Hey, you know O.J. Simpson is a wife-beating murderer, right? Oh, right. Was. 'Twas!
Connected to our senses. Found a way to let you in.
Come on. You're begging for a beating after saying that MGK beat Eminem in this diss track fucking battle. You're begging for people to call you a retard all week long because that's what they're going to call you. That's really bad.
Lewis, you can't say retard in this day and age. Even Norm Macdonald knows that. Norm Macdonald went to Down syndrome instead of retard.
I know. Okay,
on the Howard Stern show. You know, you can't say that. Come on, Jesus Christ. My son's retarded, please.
You can't say that.
Of course he's not retarded. I know, I'm joking.
Isn't it crazy? Even something like retard.
Poor little guy.
Look, I'm
trying to catch butterflies.
I'm fighting back. I'm keeping at least retard. You can't take that one from me.
It was a good one. Yeah, right, you can't say that. All right, questions, please.
Questions. All right, here we go. Let's see. If you guys want us to answer your questions, bym@gasdigitalnetwork.com. They have to know how to send in the questions. How are they not going to, they're not going to know. bym@gasdigitalnetwork.com. Send your questions there. All right. Let's see. Okay. Well, this guy actually asked about Norm Macdonald. Can I give my take about this guy? You have a different thing. I'm a comedian.
Hold on. There's a lot of people in England that probably don't know who Norm Macdonald is and don't know what's going on. So, first of all, give a quick breakdown for everybody listening. When I say quick, abbreviated breakdown. Go.
30 seconds or less. Got a timer on. Okay. So Norm Macdonald's a comedian from fucking old school SNL days. Been a comedian for like 40 years probably. Considered somewhat of a living legend, right? He recently did an interview for some magazine. I think it was the New Yorker or something. And he was asked about the Louis C.K. and Roseanne situation, both independently. And he went on to, because he's friends with them, basically defend them more or less. And one of the things he had stated was like, look, not many people understand what it's like to lose, tens of millions of dollars in a day, to lose everything for, a mistake. And then I guess they went and said, the interview said, well, what about the victims? And he was like, well, the victims didn't go through that, which he got a lot of flack for. They canceled his Tonight Show appearance. He was supposed to do Jimmy Fallon, and then they canceled his appearance. And he's fine. He's got a Netflix show still. He's still doing all the touring of all the circuits. But it was, it just depends on how you feel about this whole thing. I mean, should people be able to have an open conversation about how they feel about the Me Too movement and what's going on in Hollywood and what's going on in society? And if you're not just speaking one side of the narrative, do you have to live in fear of having these opportunities taken from you? Not even doing something, not even hurting somebody, but they took an opportunity from him because he just stated like, which by the way, I mean, I want to get your opinion on it, but it's like, what the fuck? Valerie Jarrett wasn't a victim. Roseanne's quote unquote victim. She had a comedian say, even at the worst case scenario, a racist thing about her. I would much rather have somebody say something racist about me than lose $30 million. Any day of the week. Any day of the week.
This is way over 30 seconds.
50. I mean, I'm looking at it.
Way over. I stopped listening a while
50.
ago. A minute 50.
A minute 50.
A minute
Okay.
50.
Okay.
I'm disgusted with you. You've lost all track of time.
I'm off the Tonight Show.
You know, Jesus Christ. I mean,
Shame.
what is this guy talking about? Jesus, get a grip. Get a grip. A quick abbreviated breakdown. And you went off on a tangent there. Listen, here's the thing. The Me Too movement is valid. Okay, and it's a fantastic thing because there is no place for sexual harassment in this world, whether you're a man, woman, child, whatever. Shouldn't happen. His choice of words, I heard him on the Howard Stern show, and he said he shouldn't have done it. He said he shouldn't have said it. He apologized. He said the choice of words were wrong, and they were, you know, because it sounded like he was sympathizing with them over the victims. That said, you know, there was a bit of a overreaction over it all. He clarified his comments. He apologized. But you wanted to talk about this last week when it first happened. And I said to you, I said, I don't want to talk about this because it is a touchy subject for a lot of people, you know, and I don't really want to get my feet wet. I don't want to dive in with my massive size 12s and make a mockery of something that is a very powerful movement that is needed in this day and age, that I will say is somewhat abused at times as well and overplayed. So I don't know. It's a tricky one, but what was the question that the person asked?
Yeah, well, he had asked specifically
1 minute 50.
What do you think of this whole Tonight Show Norm Macdonald situation? I'm a huge Norm fan, and I really appreciate the support you've shown him on Twitter. This is to me specifically. Give his new show a plug on the podcast. So this is Matthew in Montreal. It wasn't so much that I wasn't supporting Norm because I don't fucking know Norm and I don't give a shit. Like every time a celebrity gets Me Too'd or dies in a fucking accident or whatever it is, in my opinion, I move up another bump in the industry. So I'm like, yeah, kill them all, dude. Louis C.K., whoever, get the fuck out of the way. That's the way that I feel about it. I'm not defending anybody. I am saying that comedians are supposed to be looking for truth. And the way that we do that is by, you know, trying to write jokes and have conversations about things that are uncomfortable sometimes. And when you're discouraging comedians from doing that, you're essentially killing comedy. And The Tonight Show is a show that should be encouraging the creation of great comedy and not discouraging the discussion, no matter what side you fall in the discussions. And I agree, the Me Too movement is extremely necessary, but don't devalue it by breaking anybody down that wants to discuss it beyond just like, oh, you're absolutely right. Because I think that's, dude, discussion is like, look, every time you have an argument with your girlfriend or your wife or anybody, right? What is the way do you come to the solution? By having an actual discussion. You and your wife will get into an argument. You'll go home. You'll go in the opposite rooms. You'll fucking cooler heads will prevail. You'll come back. You'll have a conversation for 20 minutes and you're in a great place. But without having that discussion, we never get to that place.
Whoa. What age do you think we're living in? That's not how it goes down in my house, Lewis.
She fucking listens.
In my house, she gets a fucking slap. She gets told to get her fucking ass in that kitchen, make me a sandwich, put the kettle on, I want a coffee. In the meantime, I'll be taking a nap on the couch. When I wake up, you better have a better fucking attitude, okay? Of course I'm joking. Of course I'm joking.
Of course you gotta say you're joking too, which is fucking crazy. It's crazy.
I know. Of course I'm joking.
Straight to the heart. I went a long time acting like I wasn't wrong. Get apart by you.
They were asking you about Louis C.K.
Yes.
and Roseanne. Now,
Yes.
Roseanne was someone who gave you one of your first breaks in
My
show
very
business.
first job, yes.
You were actually writing
I
on
love Roseanne, yes.
And Louis is a friend of yours.
Louis is, the greatest comic there is.
And in the defense of them, somehow you got to this point where you said,
Well,
hey,
it wasn't really a defense of them. They asked me, what do you think of Roseanne, and what she did, and how she's doing. That's what they asked.
Yes.
Because I've been in touch with her.
Yeah.
So the day it happened, I phoned Roseanne because I know Roseanne, and she was crying, and she was so, upset and heartbroken. I felt so bad, and so I said, I don't know what to say to you, Roseanne, because I've never been through this,
No.
And I said, let me ask a friend of mine that's been through this. And I was talking about Louis C.K.
Yeah.
Now, Roseanne had been really hard on Louis C.K.
Yes, when he
Yeah.
was in his controversy, she
Before,
blasted his
and this
ass.
was before he got written up.
Yeah.
She said she named him. She said fucking Louis C.K. is doing
Right.
a lot of bad things. So
So you had the idea that they should talk to one another.
Louis did. I talked to Louis, and I said, I was worried about Roseanne because
Right.
I talked to her for 2 hours in a row. I was just crying the whole time, and I was like, I'm kind of worried about Roseanne. You know, she's not the strongest person mentally.
Right.
And Louis said, I think I should talk to her because very few people have been through what we have been through. This particular, a very peculiar event where you say something or you do something and your career is wiped out forever. And this happens instantaneously. So I said, you should talk to her because you've been there. And they conflated that with me saying, because I said, now the victims went through worse, but it wasn't the same as that.
Yeah,
know?
what you said was the victims
Yes.
have, at least they don't lose everything.
Yes.
That's where you got into trouble.
That's where I got into trouble,
Because
yes.
I have people in my life who are victims of real bad sexual abuse.
I do too, Howard.
Rape, everything.
Yes.
And they
It
go through.
destroys their
It destroys their life. They're never the same.
Absolutely. Oh, of course not.
Their whole bodies shake at the thought of it. Some of them even black out when they think about this thing. It's horrible. So
I know that. And of
yeah.
course, you'd have to have Down syndrome.
Not to know that.
My new word.
Down syndrome. Right. That's a good word.
You'd have to have Down syndrome to not feel sorry for, of course, Me Too is what you want for your daughters. You know what I
Yes,
mean? And
of course.
you want that to be the future world, of course.
Right.
And I meet all kinds of women that have the terrible stories, about what's happened to them.
So
But I
what-
wasn't talking about the victims. I was talking about, they asked me about Roseanne. They asked me about Chris Hardwick. They asked me about Louis. And I told them, like if someone murders someone, and goes to jail, right?
Right.
And then he gets out of jail after 10 years. And you go, I'm going to give this guy a job washing dishes because he's done his penance.
Right.
Nobody goes, well, what about the people he murdered? Well, of course they had it off worse,
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the murderer. Give him a dishwasher job,
So do you think that the writer somehow merged all of these thoughts into one thing, or do you feel you were quoted inaccurately, or do you feel like you were treated fairly?
Well, I don't know. The original writer was for the Hollywood Reporter,
right?
And he wrote it, and that wasn't the headline,
right?
And so I don't know if he even noticed or anything. And then another place called Vulture, which is a WW computer.
Yeah.
They wrote, Norm Macdonald defends Louis Anderson.
Louis C.K. Louis C.K. You can't defend Louis Anderson. What did he do?
I defend, it says, in the headline, Norm Macdonald defends Louis C.K. and Roseanne Barr. And I never defended them. Look at this.
That was me. I met him.
That's you.
Yeah, I met him.
And Rick
that's me on
Dees.
Yeah, I was friends with Rick's son, so I went. We saw him the Bad concert at the Coliseum.
Oh.
Way worse story.
Yeah, that.
You got Macaulay Culkin and Michael Jackson played good cop, bad cop with you, and
Yeah.
I met him backstage at the Coliseum.
And Rick Dees is just there.
Yeah, I'm more excited about Rick in this photo, to be honest. Did you met? I heard you met Michael Jackson.
I did meet Michael Jackson.
That's pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah, that is insane. It's quite a story. I can try to condense it for you.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I when I was in 8th grade, I had a girlfriend, and everything fell apart later in my life. But I peaked around 8th grade, and I had a really pretty girlfriend. And her father knew Michael Jackson. He ran a studio or something, and they offered us to go out to Neverland for the day. And so we went up there, and it was probably months before the whole lawsuit and everything.
The first one?
Yeah, and in fact, Macaulay Culkin came by, as did as were all the boys that sued him and all this insane stuff that I did the whole thing. I met the
Wait, what do you mean
monkey.
the whole thing?
You know what I mean. No, I did not. I didn't even do it with my girlfriend. Why was I going to do it with him? I met Bubbles, and I went in Mac and Mike's theme park. It was a water park that he and Macaulay made themselves. They built basically like what every kid would ever want. Water. It was all built-in water guns at every post and flood buttons and all these water balloons, hundreds of them and we were on teams, and I was on his team, and we won.
You were on Michael Jackson.
I was on Michael Jackson's team, and I remember
You met Michael Jackson.
Oh, I hung out with him for the whole time.
That's awesome.
And we won, and then we played a game which now, as I recall it, does sort of seem slightly incriminating, but
go on.
It was called Smoke Tag. And we went into a room that was filled with smoke, and we played tag in it, but you couldn't see anybody. So there was a lot of like tag playing, and that was when Macaulay Culkin was there at that point, and it was the 4th of July weekend, and they were having whole fireworks, and Macaulay Culkin sped up in a golf cart with flames on the side and jumped out with like a leather jacket, and he was like a real punk. And when we played this smoke tag, he threw me on the ground, and we started this like feud that continued throughout the evening. And when we ended up in Michael's toy attic, after we watched a movie in his movie theater, including a retrospective of his own life, and then all the little Culkins were doing impressions of him, like hee hee, and he was sitting there just watched the whole retrospective. He at one point leaned over and said like to Macaulay, oh, remind me, I gotta call Toys R Us. We'll close it down and head out there over the weekend. Yeah, it was like Elvis closed supermarkets or whatever. And then when we were up in this toy attic where he had, at the time, every gaming system that was around in every game, and Macaulay Culkin he was throwing stuff at me, and then he hit me on the head with something, and I said, don't do that again anymore, or I'm gonna. I was a black belt, but this was years later. I had already forgotten. And he did it again, and I threw him against the wall, and I started slamming him against the wall, saying, "I told you not to fucking." And then Michael Jackson came in between us. You can let your mind rest there for a second.
I imagine think of the bad video.
Yeah, and he parted us, and he put his arm around me, and he was like, sorry, Mac can get a little. Rambunctious, and he's like, so where are you from? And I was like, oh, I live in, Los Angeles. Oh, yeah. He's like, how old are you? And I said, oh, I'm 12. And he said, oh, you Jewish? Which was like, fuck, it still is. I don't know where that segue came from. And I said, I am. He said, oh, you gonna have a Hanukkah? And I said, what? And he said, a Hanukkah. You gonna have a Hanukkah? And I was like, he's like, I was like, every year I'll have one. And he's like, yeah, no, where you become a man. And I was like, oh, a bar mitzvah. He's like, yeah. And I said, yeah. And as soon as I said when I became a man, he shoved me away. I don't like him like that. No, but, and then I spent the night in his life-size dollhouse.
Jesus.
With my girlfriend at the time.
So you got to bring a girl in.
I had a girl there.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty amazing.
But it was absolutely the craziest thing. And I grew up, for me, it was that, Thriller was that was
the greatest
everything.
album ever. That's probably the craziest thing that'll ever happen to you in your whole life.
I often think that. I look around a room and I'm like, nobody else here has ever had anything.
Amazing.
I got to go into I did go into his bedroom, and I went into his closet, and it's when he would wear the red shirt, black pants, fedora, mirror sunglasses, and his closet, it was like a cartoon. It was literally about 150 red shirts, 150 black pants, 150 fedora. It was like
That's incredible.
You know, and he had a TV that came out of the ground. I'd never seen anything like it.
That's a pretty goddamn cool story.
That beats the hell out of your story about getting fucked by Dan Fogelberg.
2 times today I've said something
No,
in
Dan
confidence.
Fogelberg's a great guy.
What if I actually got fucked by Dan Fogelberg?
Even like you say, your unwanted WNT allegations against Michael Jackson. There had to be kids that were like, well, "This is pretty cool."
Yeah.
This is not some old priest.
You know, we have some news stories here. Okay. I just wanted to cover. Let's see what's in the news, actually. Okay. You know, we got this one here, the international news. We have a new pope, and
how about all that crap made about that?
What
with
crap?
the black smoke and the white smoke and the millions of people?
Yeah.
I know the last thing the cardinal asked is, okay, before we elect a new pope, everyone raise your hand who molested a kid. Unanimous. I would like to see this. I brought this clip. Run it. This is how I would like to see the election of the Pope.
The election of the Pope?
Yes, run it.
As, here it is.
Here it
well,
is.
this isn't the...
No, this isn't it. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
There's the crowd. Now watch. Watch. All right, the door's going to open. And there's the Pope. There's the Pope. That's the Pope.
We should explain to the folks that was Michael Jackson.
Let's explain. Yeah, explain who Michael Jackson is to the people.
Everyone knows Michael Jackson. What, are you retarded?
I didn't know him that well in the 90s. And then when my dad died, I had to do a movie with Norm. And I tried everything to get out of that movie because I was inconsolable. And I couldn't get out of it. And working with him was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It was like he was the right guy at the right time. I was inconsolable.
Did he talk to you about your dad a lot? Or what did he do?
Never came up.
Uh-huh.
He just made me laugh.
Yeah, right.
He just, and it was, wistful and musing. And Norm is, he never knew he was setting something up or not. We were just hanging out, and all of a sudden it'd be like this punchline out of nowhere. But it started to become like work was like a church I go to. Like I couldn't wait to get to work and just hang around this guy. And I knew he was special.
Yeah.
And I've known people for years and years that didn't make me laugh as much as he did in that 8 or 10 weeks. So he's like a real special person to me. And the way he's funny, I just never seen someone get at it like that. That was great.
He came on our show one time, your old studio, the late night show, and I went in just to say hi before the segment, and he's in the dressing room right outside the double doors, inconsolable, because he had bet on a big game that had just ended.
Oh, yeah.
I'm there to try and make sure that the guest is in a good mood.
Right.
We're going to have a good ramp up. And I remembered him, that's a lot of money. And I hear the band outside. It's going to be good time show business with a man that just lost $55,000. Who knows what he lost,
Recently destitute Norm Macdonald.
Exactly, yeah.
Did he give that up? Do we know?
I don't know.
I don't know 100%.
When it was him reading an excerpt from his book or his book on tape, where he describes his gambling addiction, so poetically.
Oh wow!
He
talks about roulette.
Roulette,
yeah. It's
how
a book on tape.
hopeful it is
Yeah.
to be he's addicted to the hope of it.
And there's no way you can talk about Norm and not, because we all know that gambling was part of his life, and you can just, in his comedy, he's just always putting everything on 17 red or 35 red. It's like, that's amazing that it's really the same thrill.
Yeah, you're right. That's interesting.
I'm not taking that,
I have a funny Norm gambling one. So, and this is everything is true. So, because some of it doesn't make sense, but we lived in the same building. I went up to visit him in his room. We come up at his apartment. That was going into his apartment was bananas as it is, but we're having a nice time. And I say, "You got any soda?" And I open up his fridge, and I swear to God, $25,000 worth of chips. Atlantic City chips are in his fridge. And I go, "What's this?" He goes, "Oh, I won big. I won big on Friday." And I said, "Well, why did you cash it in, buddy?" He goes, "Well, I brought it here so I could talk to Bernie Brillstein to see how I don't have to pay taxes on it." So I go, "Oh," and he goes, yeah, so I'm gonna bring it back Monday. And he told me no matter what, I gotta pay taxes. So, it didn't work out there. So whatever, I go, "Oh, that sucks." So anyways, I see him at Saturday Night Live on Monday. I go, "Did you cash that in?" He goes, "I lost it all."
We go down the elevators, and they have limos for us for the SNL to go to the after party. So we get in them, and then Max, the guy, goes, "Oh yeah, Norm sometimes takes us to Atlantic City." So he just skips the party. They go right there. And that Monday he comes back. He said the same thing. He goes, "He keeps chips in his refrigerator because no one looks in the fridge if they're robbing him."
Oh,
that was another.
Wow, that's ingenious.
Better than the Bernie.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Tell you, I have so many Norm stories, but this is one of my favorites. And I was on tour, me, Sandler, Spade, Rob Schneider, and Norm was kind of like the wild card. He would pop in for certain dates. So I believe Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, and we're backstage. Everyone's in Sandler's green room talking, shooting the shit. And me and Norm are in the hallway hanging out. And I don't know why I did this. This long hallway, and this guy walks in. Way down the hallway, walks in the door. And I'm like looking, and we're always kind of suspicious about people that come backstage. And I go, "I think that guy's a gun." And Norm goes, "What?" And I go, I think that guy's a fucking gun, dude." And he's like, "Oh my God." And he runs into Sandler's room and he goes, "There's a gun. There's a man with a gun." And I was like, No, there's not. There's not. I was, no, I'm joking. There's not. And he goes, No, next to there's a guy with a gun. And Sandler goes, "What the fuck? There's a guy with a fucking gun?" And Spade's like, "Oh no, what the fuck? What's going?" And I'm like, "No, there's no gun. There's no gun. I was making like a joke just for Norm." And Norm's like, "What? How's that a joke?" And I'm like, I don't know." And Sandler was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man." Spade's like, "Yeah, real cool, man." And I'm like, "I'm just gonna go to my room." And Norm's like, "Yeah, I thought there was a gun. I'm sorry. Nick said it." And I'm like, "Good Lord."
Real buzzkill.
And the guy walked past, it was a security guard. But yeah.
So he really did have a gun.
He didn't have a gun, but he just looked like somebody that would have a gun.
Yeah, well, people use guns for security, man.
It was just not a good joke on my part, especially poor Norm.
So it wasn't a studio crowd pleasing effect. It was never aimed at the studio audience. It was always aimed just directly at me. I just what I knew was funny.
Last week on Larry King Live, Marlon Brando made the shocking statement that Hollywood is, quote, run by Jews. In response, outraged Jewish organizations made it snow in New York in April. Native Americans in upstate New York are trying to block plans to build a Kmart on the site of a Mohican burial ground. In addition, they were upset to learn that sales at this particular Kmart will be announced, "Attention Kmart savages." 3 years ago, an 11-year-old British schoolgirl put a message in a bottle and tossed it into the Atlantic Ocean. Well, this week, she was astounded to receive a reply from halfway around the world. Sadly, the reply read, "You're 11, what are you wearing?" While in the hospital, Michael Jackson had his room specially decorated with 2 huge photos of Shirley Temple. But don't get the wrong idea here. Michael Jackson is a homosexual pedophile. He is... In Falls City, Nebraska, John Lauder has been sentenced to death for attempting to kill 3 people in what prosecutors called a plot to silence a cross-dressing female who had accused him of rape. Now, this might strike some viewers as harsh, but I believe everyone involved in this story should die. Brooklyn man crossing an expressway on Monday was hit by at least 10 cars. According to police, the man's body was spread over a 2-block area. Police also reported that various organs were flattened on the road and that his spine had been ripped out of his torso. The man is currently resting in stable condition at St. Mary's Hospital. Frank Sinatra turned 80 this week. Frank Sinatra. And although the singer is said to be suffering from Alzheimer's, he had a typically festive birthday, singing a duet with a hooker and having sex with Tony Bennett. Probably going to end up in Jersey with a meat hook up my ass, but it was a good joke. Here we see the president and the first bitch. Hey, slow down, you bitch. Let me catch up. Hey. In Whitewater News, federal regulators quizzed Hillary Clinton at the White House this week and gave her a perfect score on the lying section. She's a dirty liar. Admitted Brinkley, there was certainly nothing uncreative about the way you moved Vince Foster's body. The president's a murderer. You didn't know that? Thanks, I'm Norm Macdonald, and now the fake news. Well, it is finally official. Murder is legal in the state of California. A down-and-out O.J. Simpson, depressed that all of his money-making ideas have failed, has decided to go back to doing what he does best, killing people. O.J. Simpson was in a different courtroom this week, attempting to regain custody of his 2 children. In order to prove to the court how much he loves his kids, O.J. pointed out, quote, "Hey, they're still alive, aren't they?" Women would be more likely to vote if they could send in ballots by mail or if polls were open longer. Also, more women would vote if you were permitted to bake your vote. They like to bake. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a man allowed his 8-year-old daughter to take the wheel of his car, and an accident ensued that damaged 7 other cars and injured 6 people. Which once again proves my theory, women can't drive. Please note that the percentages in these pie graphs do not add up to 100% because the math was done by a woman. For those of you hissing at that joke, it should be noted that that joke was written by a woman. So, no, I'm just kidding. We don't hire women. Hey, I was driving in a car. You were kind enough to bring a car to bring this old chunk of coal here to the studio.
We send cars for our guests, yes.
Yeah, so I got in it, and that's, I get material that way. So my driver...
What do you mean? How do you get material that way? You get in the car, and what happens?
My driver tells me a joke.
The driver we sent to pick you up told you a joke?
Yeah.
And you're going to tell it now on the show?
Yeah, that's how I get a lot of my material.
I was wondering about the moth joke and the dolphin joke, the Conan O'Brien show, which I've watched like an embarrassing amount of times. I was just wondering, like, going into those story jokes, the shaggy dogs or whatever, was there an agenda that you were steering away from? Like, what did Conan think you guys were going to talk about? And would he just have you on the show just be like, come and just tell jokes because you don't know anything?
Well, when Conan started,
a show. You know, and I started Saturday Night Live at the same time that Conan started his talk show. And so he wasn't that successful, so he'd always phone me and go, the lady with the potato chips canceled, you know, and I'd have to fill in, you know. And so a man only has so many stories, so I had my one. And I told that on the first show. But the way like, for instance, like the moth joke, I was on Conan, you know, and he said, you know, you're going to be on one segment. So I did this segment. And then at the end of the segment, he goes, you got to do another segment. I'm like, but I got nothing to say. And then I remember Colin Quinn told me this joke that said, like, a moth was into a podiatrist's office. And he says, oh, I have all these problems. And the podiatrist goes, why did you come in here? And he goes, the light was on. And so I said, maybe I'll do that joke, but that joke only takes 8 seconds. So I know a thing has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's what I've always heard, even though I don't fucking understand what the fuck it means. That's why I put a big, long middle. But yeah, with Conan, you know, I just, what I do is, you have to, in these talk shows, they have these people called pre-interviewers, and you tell them the story, and they go to the host, and they tell the host the story, and then you tell the host the story that he's already heard. So you feel like you're a goddamn fool. So instead, I would make up stories to tell them. And then so, you know, let them go, I understand you got a haircut. I go, no, I never got no haircut. So after a while, they just let me do it. And they were all very kind men, you know. Very, very funny men.
The search continues in the Indian Ocean for the Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 as they listen and try to follow the pings. These guys sound like me always listening for pings. The pings are my Chinese neighbors. Jim and Ellen Ping. Nice people, nice folks. Nice folks.
Jim Ping?
That is my neighbor. A nice fella.
Nice guy?
Let me as abacus
I want to do
yesterday.
this. Jesus.
Oh, come on. That's not a Chinese guy.
I wasn't saying it was. No, that was kind of racist.
What are you, Mickey Rooney?
Hey. Hey, come on.
I know he's dead,
Have
but
a little
Mickey Rooney
respect.
did a very racist thing like you just did in a movie called Breakfast at Tiffany's by the wonderful Truman Capote.
I wasn't doing anything racist, and you know it. But go ahead.
Yeah.
You ever see any of the old chums up there in Canada?
Well,
you ever go up to the old rural areas of Canada?
I met a man there last time I was there that lived in the city of Cornwall, where Ryan Gosling hails. And well, it's a big city because of that now.
Yeah.
And so
big deal. Yeah.
So, anyways, he was from the city, and he got tired of the rat race, racing and chasing and trying to keep up with the Joneses.
He got tired of the city life.
Yeah, so
he couldn't take it anymore.
He said, I'm going to get myself land. Land. Man needs land. So he went to the country where we live. And the soil's not arable, it's rocky, hellish. But anyways, he liked it.
Yeah.
And so the first day there, the neighbor fella, Angus McGregor, comes over. I know Angus a long time. And Angus, old fella, he says, what's your name? The guy says, Phil Henshaw. He said, you're from the city, I hear. Yes. He says, well, I just come over to say hello. God, the city fella says, isn't that something? All the years I was in the city, I never met my neighbor. I lived in an apartment, and I never met my neighbor. First day here on the farm, and here you are saying hello. Well, I'm saying more than hello, says Angus McGregor. I'm going to invite you to a welcome wagon party over at my farm. Well, the city fellow says, that's exactly what I was looking for. I guess I was looking for a sense of community as well as owning land.
Yeah.
So he says, what's the party going to be like? So Angus McGregor says, well, I won't lie to you, it gets pretty rowdy, a little drinking, a little fighting, a little fornicating. So the guy says, well, that's all right with me. What time do I show up? Angus says, it don't matter, just the two of us. Now...
Right.
Straight to the heart. I went a long time acting like I was a bro. Get apart by you.
You live here, of course, in the city because you're doing the show.
I live in New York City.
Yeah. This isn't a police interrogation. Are you sure? Where about? Where in the city do you live, approximately, not specifically?
I live at 56 between 8th and Broadway.
Okay, and what's your phone number? Just give me 7 digits. All right. What? Your neighbors nice people? The people that live around you?
Great people. Every day I meet somebody new. You know, this city's great because of the neighborly people. You know. I don't know. But I did meet one neighbor. Interesting story. You know, that this guy. He just moved in, you know, next door to me. So I'm always one to meet the neighbors.
You like to chat with the neighbors,
yeah, because, you know, so I went over to the guy, I knocked on the door next door to where I live, and I say to the guy, I said, hey, I'm your new neighbor, you know, and I said, good to see you, you know, nice to run into you, you know, welcome to the neighborhood, you know. And so the guy, I said, what do you do for a living there, sir? You know, if you don't mind me asking. You know, what do you do for a living? I'm a nightclub comic, I tell the guy. So he says to me, he says, I work down at the University of Science there. He says, that's
a good school, by the way.
I can't remember the exact place.
Sure.
But he says, I'm a professor of logic.
Oh.
So he says, the guy says, logic. Now, what the hell is that? I never heard tell of that. He says, oh, well, he says it's a kind of a pattern of syllogistic. Well, he says it's hard to explain. He says, why don't I give you an example? So I said, fair enough. Why don't you do that? So the guy says, well, he says, let me ask you a question. He says, do you own a doghouse? So I go, yes, I do. He says, well, then that means you probably have a dog. I said, yes. He says, well, that means you're likely you have a family if you have a dog. I said, yes, I do. He said, well, then that means you got kids, you're married. I said, yes, I am. He says, well, then you're a heterosexual man. I said, yes, sir, I am. He says, well, you see, that's logic there. I asked if simply from finding out you had a doghouse, I made this series of inferences, and I found that you're a heterosexual man simply from the fact that you had a doghouse. Well, I said, good God, isn't that something?
Okay.
So I said, well, I won't waste any more of your time there, neighbor. And I said, I'll see you later.
See you around. Okay.
So I said, come by one day and have a chicken with me. So anyways, I left. So I go to get a bus, you know, to the bus stop. And I walk down to the bus stop, and I'm still thinking about this thing that happened to me, you know. And I'm standing at the bus, and no bus coming at all, you know, and 5 or 6 of us standing around, and one guy lights up a cigarette there, and he goes, as soon as you light up a cigarette, the bus comes. And he smokes the whole damn cigarette, no bus comes.
Right.
So I said to the guy, well, that theory really worked, huh? And the guy goes, well, sometimes it works. Anyways, the guy goes, what's new with you? I go, well, I had an interesting thing happen to me today. I said, I met my neighbor. And he goes, oh, yeah? I go, he had a hell of an interesting job. I said, he's a professor of logic down at the University of
Science.
And so the guy says, is that so? He says, professor of logic. He goes, what the hell is that, logic? I said, well, it's a series of Scylla something or other.
Right.
I said, I can't remember exactly, but I said, I'll give you an example if you want to hear an example.
Yeah.
So the guy goes, all right, fair enough. So I said, let me ask you this. I said, let me ask you a question. Do you own a doghouse? And the guy goes, no, I don't own a doghouse. So the guy says, oh, yeah, you're one of them gays.
And it worked, right? A lot of great stuff you can learn at
Yeah, it was
that
nice.
University of Science there.
And then the guy, and then get this. Get this.
There's more.
This gay guy
Yeah.
invites me to have a chicken at his place.
That's some kind of euphemism.
Yeah, I don't
Watch
know.
out.